culture, faith, caste, or language group, we all belong to the same shared community. These values deeply resonate with the principles of Vedanta Center, which emphasizes respect, connection, compassion, service, and understanding that beneath our differences is a shared humanity. Today's festivities are proudly supported by the Queensland Government, and we are very grateful for the support of our sponsors and community partners, LJ Hooker Real Estate, and More Than Home Loans. There is so much happening today. You will be noticing that stalls are lining in the driveway down to the downstairs kitchen area, so please take time to explore them. We also have a petting zoo, which I'm sure will be a hit with the younger members of our community. And the older, of course. We've also got the wonderful Ma Sharada Cafe, which is serving delicious Indian vegetarian food, so please make sure to treat yourself. Later today, beginning at 12 noon, we will have an exciting lineup of live music and classical Indian dance performances in the outdoor area near the kitchen. And right here, you are going to be experiencing a wonderful program of live music and thought-provoking conversations with our community leaders and change makers. We are honored to have with us today several distinguished guests. Our keynote speaker today is Giridharan Shivaraman, Race Discrimination Commissioner at the Australian Human Rights Commission. We are also honored by the presence of Honorable Fiona Simpson, Member of Parliament, Honorable Shane Newman, Member of Parliament, Senator Paul Scar, and Councillor Paul Tully. We also warmly acknowledge and welcome Swami Atmeshananda, Vice President of the Vedanta Center and resident monk here in Brisbane, Jim Varghese, Chairperson and owner of the Leadership Company Queensland, and Director and Chair of the Springfield City Group Board of Directors. Thank you for being here today and supporting our community. It is now my pleasure to invite to the stage Dr. Ashim Mojumdar, Senior Vice President of the Vedanta Center, Brisbane. Dr. Mojumdar is a deeply respected and well-loved elder in our community who has dedicated many years of tireless service to nurturing the growth of the Vedanta Center here in Brisbane. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Mojumdar to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Greta, for giving the introduction. But you have said everything that I wanted to say. But let me start. Namaskar and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you all to the Harmony Day celebrations. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodian of the land on which we meet today, and pay our respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. Today, we celebrate that everyone belongs is the primary focus, reinforcing that belonging is created through understanding and respect. I am particularly honored to welcome dignitaries who connect our multicultural community and celebrate our differences and similarities that make our community stronger. It is my great pleasure to welcome Swami Atmeshananda. I think he is currently the President of the Vedanta Center of Australia and New Zealand. His Vice President has been taken away. And Swami Mahabodhananda, the Resident Swami of Vedanta Center, Brisbane. It is my honor to welcome Mr. Giridharan Sivaraman, the Race Discrimination Commissioner, and Australian Human Rights Commission. Mr. Sivaraman is the keynote speaker for today. It is my pleasure to welcome Honourable Fiona Simpson, MP, the Minister for Multicultural Affairs, Queensland, and Honourable Shane Newman, MP. I feel privileged to welcome Senator Paul Scar, the Deputy Mayor Nicole Johnings, is here. Thank you. Councillor Paul Tully and Councillor Pai Augustine. I am also privileged to welcome Honourable Cherise Mullen, MP, and the Chancellor, Jim Verghese, AM. It is my great pleasure also to welcome various community leaders, our executive committee, various members, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, to take part in this celebratory function. Harmony Day, as you have just heard, celebrates the core value of inclusiveness, mutual respect for one another's culture, and religious diversity, and fosters a sense of belonging for everyone who calls Australia home. Harmony Day actually coincides with the United Nations International Day for Elimination of Racial Discrimination. From a Vedantic point of view, we strongly believe in harmony of religion, as well as we are all the children of the divine. The book of Roman New Testament says, live in harmony with one another. Do not be snobbish, high-minded, but regularly adjust yourself to people and things that give yourself to humble tasks. Never overestimate yourself and be wise in your conceits. To quote Mahatma Gandhi, I claim that human mind or human society is not divided into watertight compartments called social, political, and religion. All act and react upon one another. Today, to celebrate this occasion, there are various activities including performance from different cultures, culinary delights, various stalls, children for various activities, and panel discussion, which would generate powerful thoughts and ideas that would be beneficial to all of us. Swami Vivekananda said, the whole universe is only the self with variations. One tune made variable by variations. Sometimes these are discords. There are discords. They only make the subsequent harmony more effective and perfect. Friends, let us accept each other in the spirit of oneness and enrich our lives, as well as enrich the lives of everyone that you come across. May I say a prayer for this Harmony Day? Give us courage. We pray, O Lord, that we may follow your ways closely. We might live in loving harmony with others. God, you have created each of us in your image and likeness. And so we are different expressions of your love. Help us to appreciate each other's difference so that we can create in our community understanding, peace, and harmony. We make this prayer in the name of the Lord, in whose spirit we are all one. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mojumdar, for those thoughtful and inspiring words. It is now my absolute pleasure to invite to the stage the Honourable Fiona Simpson, Member of Parliament, Minister for Women and Women's Economic Security, Minister for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Partnerships, and Minister for Multiculturalism. Minister Simpson has been a strong advocate for inclusive communities, equity, and opportunities for all Australians, and we are truly honoured to have her here with us today. I now invite the Honourable Fiona Simpson to share a few words.
Thank you to our MC. Gretel, you're doing a wonderful job. And what an honour to follow that truly wonderful contribution that we just heard from Dr. Ashim Majumdar, and the reflection upon our shared humanity and the kindness across different faith backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, and our shared humanity. I firstly wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting, and to acknowledge elders of the past, present and emerging. It's also very important, particularly on Harmony Day, to acknowledge all Australians, from our most ancient of our First Peoples through to every wave of migrants who've come together in this great melting pot of Australia. And we are better together with an acceptance of the diversity of our heritage, where we share values of democracy, peace, and also freedom of religion. The freedom to have a religion, the freedom not to have a religion, the freedom to live in peace together, but to understand how we come and hear each other's voices. I was reflecting as I was listening to the doctor. Well, I should firstly also acknowledge also all the official guests and federal member, Shane Newman, and also Senator Paul Scar, and we've got a number of councillors, Councillor Pye and also Councillor Tully, and I think Councillor Nicole's here as well. And but particularly to the Vedanta Centre, I had a wonderful time checking out your food, so that's harmony for me. But there is a welcome in this place which I think really embodies what you're seeking to do, and also acknowledging Commissioner Giri, who's perhaps got more of a cast to challenge the one that I've had on. I do wish you happy healing with that, but distinguished guests all. I really am honoured to be here to speak and to acknowledge that the Christopher government stands with this wonderful celebration of Harmony Day. It is one day that we can particularly put a focus on how important it is for us to live in peace together, to live and understand the different voices, but within a democracy, to have the ability to have those voices heard and to shape our future together. The Christopher government's proud to support this event through celebrating Multicultural Queensland Grants program, which you were successful in. For me, coming into this Vedanta Centre for the first time, you can see though that this is a community that's been built around genuine care, genuine reaching out, seeing those who are vulnerable, seeing people in different aspects of life. And it's quite evident that there's an understanding of what it takes to build community. And Swami, when I heard that you speak 7 languages, I was amazed. And we all will grow up with a mother tongue. Those who have also been able to learn other languages, there's a gift of understanding that comes with those who can particularly bridge those gaps of different languages, but to understand how important it is for people to be understood. And I've lived overseas, and understanding that it's not just about functional language, it's being able to be understood, to be seen, to have your identity respected and heard. So we strongly support respectful and connected communities by celebrating the cultural traditions, faiths and contributions of people from all backgrounds who call Queensland home. To be able to celebrate together and come together on days like this, that hopefully we can see multiplied not just over one day, but also over many days and across other communities. And when I was listening to the doctor's contribution before, I found myself reflecting on a story I read many years ago about Mother Teresa, who as a Catholic nun living in India went in to a Muslim mosque after an earthquake and with the women who were there putting the tiles back on the wall where this place of worship had been badly damaged, was working alongside of them. Now that story may be replicated in many other communities and other people whose names I don't know, but it's always stuck in my mind because it was recognition that even though she came from a different faith tradition, seeing the value of people with their faith traditions and how important it was for them in their time of distress to come alongside, to lift up and to elevate. Now, we're not in a place of distress here. This is a place where we're celebrating. But I think whether it's in tough times or in the good times, that understanding that it's important for us to understand people's different traditions. We're strengthened by those even if we have different traditions. And together we create a better future. So on Harmony Day, may you keep that light shining and maybe come together to celebrate not only this day but other days going forward, where we're able to keep strengthening our community, celebrating the diversity we have, and unlocking better potential for tomorrow as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you for such a thought-provoking speech, Honourable Minister Simpson. I would like to invite Swami Atmeshananda to present a token of our appreciation. It is now my absolute pleasure to introduce to the stage the Jade Ensemble. The Jade Ensemble is an innovative quartet that creates a captivating fusion of Asian and Australian music. Formed in 2019, the ensemble features Indigenous didgeridoo musician David Williams, Japanese koto virtuoso Dr. Takako Hagarty, Nepalese tabla virtuoso Dheeraj Shrestha, and Australian guitarist and composer Dr. Anthony Garcia. Since their acclaimed debut at the Queensland Performing Arts Centre, Jade has pioneered musical dialogue through original composition and improvisation. In 2025, they represented Australia at the Osaka World Expo and premiered Kiowa Harmonic Resonance at the Brisbane Festival. Through their music, Jade seeks to bridge worlds, honor traditions, and reveal the universal language that connects us all. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to the Jade Ensemble.
Do so with pride, respect, and recognition of the country. And have that voice and representation of our people. Very, very important. Because it's that continuity of culture and that sharing of culture that we need for many generations as we're doing today, right now. I'll leave you with the sound of the didgeridoo as we go. Take you back to ancient times that are carried to where we are today to share that multicultural sound and conversation with the power.
to everybody. We're Jade Ensemble. It's an honour to be here. I would love to thank everyone for their beautiful words in the lead up to this performance, especially thank David Williams for that beautiful acknowledgement to country to help ground our practice as Jade Ensemble in traditions of music making that are as ancient as time itself. And that's one of the special privilege about Jade Ensemble, being able to represent these diverse cultures and of course the world's oldest surviving culture. So thank you for those beautiful words, David. That is the Jade ethos. I think it's nice that we're here for Harmony Day because our ensemble really is about celebrating cultural diversity through sound. And so we've been playing together for a number of years. Last year we were representing Australia at World Expo, which was also a great privilege. And so it's just lovely. This is our first performance this year. So we're just sort of brushing off the cobwebs and getting in the zone for you. So we've got a lovely, sweet little program for you. I did hear the first gentleman, sorry, I can't remember your name, but beautiful words that I really loved, and the mention was belonging. Is that, that's the one that, yeah. Belonging, and this piece we're going to play for you now is titled Belonging. Thank you. very much. We're doing a little Spanish thing, eh? Are we? No. Which one have you got? Which were you moving to?
Moving to the next one.
Which is?
Sorry.
So as you can see, one of the challenges of working in a very intercultural space with lots of different instruments from different backgrounds and traditions is that we all have different ways of making music, different scales, different tuning, different ways of even thinking about music. And so we've had to meld all of that together. Part of the melding process is actually technical. It's like, well, how does this instrument going to go with this one in this key? And so there's a little bit of tuning, and there's different tablas for different keys and didgeridoos. So David's got 3 didgeridoos there. Takiko's having to move the notes around a little bit to make a way of kind of accommodating all these diverse styles. So that's my little spiel. What are we playing? The Spanish. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we've never done this one before. This is something new. It's in E. Is it in C? No. It is in C. You're playing E didg. Yeah, but it is in C. So it's complicated. So who's a musician here? Any musicians? Anyone studying music theory? Do you want us to get it? Should we talk about it? Okay. So this is just a little Spanish improvisation for you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's in a D for me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So a bit of an impromptu jam there for you. So a lot of the music that we've worked through over the years really starts just as a jam like that, and then next time we get together to rehearse, we might go, oh, there was something interesting there, let's turn it into something more. So next time you hear us play, that might be more elaborate, developed theme. Which one now is the...
Queen?
Do you want to explain that? Yes.
Namaste. This next piece is called The Seven Queen. And this is very interesting compositions that derive from Nepal actually. In folk tradition. I wonder why seven queens. I'm sure you know. So the story behind is a seven queen over one little baby. So the baby needs to be looked after. Its story goes around that there's only one queen is more because she's the real mother, and the rest of the other monks, they are not looking after that little baby. So they usually go. This is very interesting because it's a harmony day. So that's celebration. It's a harmony day celebration for within the royal families as well. So, and this little baby, the sad story is thrown in the river, but other queens go and saved that baby, and the celebration is all about this particular song called Seven Queens, is set in the rhythm called Swarati. So that's probably never heard in Indian rhythmic cycle. So this is purely in Nepali, it's called Swarati, and you can work it out what rhythmic cycle it is. It's quite interesting.
Is that D? Yeah, D.
I think fittingly is titled The Peace Song. When we wrote it, it just felt very peaceful. There was nothing too complex about it. It's just a beautiful, peaceful, relaxing melody, and it's a nice way to finish. So can I just say thank you all for coming. I hope you have a beautiful harmony today. We are really excited about tasting some of the amazing food that we can smell floating around here. I want to also thank Menika Thomas, who's not here today, but she helped organise our connection to this event. So once again, have a beautiful day. Thank you. We're Jade Ensemble. You can find us online, and hopefully we'll see you at another event at some time in the future. Have a beautiful day. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you to the Jade Ensemble for such a mesmerizing and deeply moving musical experience. Music has a remarkable way of reminding us that harmony can exist between different communities and cultures. It now brings me great honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Giridharan Shivaraman, Australia's Race Discrimination Commissioner. Commissioner Shivaraman commenced this role in March 2024. He also served as the chair of Multicultural Australia from 2021 to 2024, and as a member of the Queensland Multicultural Advisory Council, where he strongly advocated for the rights of those affected by racial discrimination. Commissioner Shivaraman was born in India and migrated to Australia as a child. His work in anti-discrimination law and advocacy is deeply grounded in a passion for human rights, fairness, and justice, and a strong commitment to speaking truth to power and standing with those who experience marginalization. Today, he will be speaking on a very important and a powerful topic: why confronting racism is the only way to achieve a happier and a more cohesive society. Please join me in warmly welcoming Commissioner Giridharan Shivaraman.
Thanks very much. I don't know, I think it's kind of a bit sad that you've got to listen to me after that performance. You're probably all feeling very calm and uplifted, and now you've got to hear someone talk about racism for 20 minutes. So my apologies in advance. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak here today. I also want to begin by acknowledging the Yuggera peoples as the traditional custodians of the lands on which we're on, and pay my respects to elders past and present. I also want to explain why I think it's important to acknowledge we're on country. I often feel that sometimes it's just a recitation of words that people say because they feel they have to say it, but it's not that for me. For me, as someone who leads anti-racism work and who's experienced plenty of racism, none more so than when I became Commissioner, it's important to acknowledge the difference between the racism that targets non-Indigenous people of colour, like many in this room, and that targets Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. Racism targeting non-Indigenous people of colour results in a denial of equality, dignity and respect. Racism targeting First Peoples also does that, but in addition it's a denial of self-determination and sovereignty. And I've benefited from that racism. I've benefited from the taking of their land by settlers before me. So for that reason, I think it's a very, very small but significant thing for me to acknowledge I'm on country. It's a real privilege to speak at the Vedanta Centre. My family's been associated with the Vedanta Centre for a very long time. My grandmother was involved with the Vedanta Centre in Colombo, and she tells me many stories about it. And for her and for my family, the Vedanta Centre is a place of shelter, a place of peace and understanding. And I'm not talking about shelter in just a metaphorical way. During the Black July riots in Colombo, where Sinhalese mobs torched, burnt and killed thousands of Tamils, our house was set alight, and my grandmother was the only one there at the time, and she needed to seek shelter. And the only place she could get shelter, and she got shelter there for 15 days, was the Vedanta Centre in Colombo, who took her in. She tells me a story of how the Swami there said, I can't believe this is happening again. I had to leave Bhutan, I had to leave Myanmar, and now I've got to leave, do I have to leave Sri Lanka? But he took her in and gave her shelter. They gave her shelter for 15 days. So it is not a metaphorical thing, it's a real shelter. So today's festival, or the reason I'm here, is because it's a Harmony Day event, but I think it's important to acknowledge that today is globally recognised as the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination by the United Nations. That began in 1966 as a day of mourning. It's a day set aside to remember and reflect on the mass murder of over 70 Africans in South Africa by white police at a peaceful demonstration against apartheid in Sharpeville. And the United Nations frames the day as one in which we should be building solidarity with the people struggling against racism and racial discrimination. The change to Harmony Day occurred here in 1999 under former Prime Minister John Howard to celebrate diversity and multiculturalism. But that, of course, shifts the focus away from racism and discrimination. Celebrating diversity within communities has value, but it shouldn't come at the cost of naming and confronting racism. And in our work at the Australian Human Rights Commission, what we've found is approaches to tackling racism, particularly within government, are ad hoc, piecemeal. There are parts of government that don't even want to use the word racism, they'd rather use other words like harmony and social cohesion. And I often say, and I don't know if this reference is going to work for anyone other than Paul at the front, but saying racism isn't like saying Beetlejuice. You don't suddenly make the demon appear by saying the word. The demon is well and truly amongst us, and you have to name the beast to slay it. And of course, we have seen the horror of racism manifest in the most violent of ways just in the last few months. The horrific anti-Semitic attack, massacre in Bondi, the attempted bomb at an Invasion Day rally in Boorloo, Perth, the thwarting of potential terrorist attacks on mosques in Western Australia. But the target keeps changing, but the problem remains. As a country, we're of course eager to promote ourselves as a successful multicultural nation. But are we genuinely pluralistic, or are you forced to express your culture in the shadows? I think about my own life. And my journey into the law. I was a lawyer for 20 years before I became a commissioner. I was brought up in a Tamil-speaking, Hindu, teetotaling, vegetarian household. But as I tried to enter the world of law, I was acutely conscious of fitting in. And law, like many professions, rewards conformity, not difference. I let go of Tamil because I didn't want to sound different. And Tamil is a beautiful language, one of poetry and literature. But it's different to English. The subject, the verb and the object are in different places in Tamil, and I didn't want to sound different because I knew that would make me seem that I was lesser. I remember my ceremony to be admitted as a lawyer, one of the proudest days of my life in the Supreme Court in New South Wales. But I also remember I was given a choice of either taking an oath on a Bible or a secular affirmation. There was no room for my Hindu beliefs there. I remember attending events, law events, that started with a Christian prayer. I mean, even now, the only religious holidays observed in Australia under the Fair Work Act are Christian ones. Alcohol was the key to mingling with clients or other lawyers, otherwise you were left out. You were seen as someone who's a bit strange. So throughout 2 decades of law, the only thing I maintained from my growing up was my vegetarianism. I mean, for a little while there, veganism was in vogue, so I was cool, but that passed pretty quickly, and I wasn't anymore. In some senses, I am absolutely the multicultural success story. Yet my culture, language and religion were obstacles to my success. They weren't a platform or a bridge to my success. So when it comes to calling the 21st of March today the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, or calling it Harmony Day, you can say, well, that's just a choice of words. But words matter. Throughout history, language has been used to label people, to erase struggles, to shape political narratives. And in our own history, racist policies towards First Peoples were called protection policies, rather than acknowledging what they actually did, such as racial segregation, dispossession, and the tragedy we now know as the stolen generation. So language is powerful. It can empower people, or it can silence people. It can expose, or it can obscure the truth. It can challenge, or it can reinforce justice. So we have to be careful when we think about the words we use. And when we replace acknowledgement of racism with words like harmony, we risk obscuring the fact that racism is a significant problem and something we have to confront. If we want to tackle racism, then we have to build our racial literacy. We have to recognise its harms. And there is plenty of cause for optimism. In November 2024, we tabled the National Anti-Racism Framework with the federal government. And the 63 recommendations is the first ever whole of government approach to tackling racism. I'm not going to talk a lot about the framework. I don't think this is the crowd for it. I'm going to talk a little bit about some other things. I'm going to talk about underpinning that framework is building racial literacy. And I do want to explain what I mean by that. So as Greta said, I was born in Chennai, in India. So when I catch the plane to Chennai and I get off the plane in Chennai, because I love going back to India. I've got a lot of relatives there. I get off the plane in Chennai and I'm Giridharan to a beautiful, that's the best pronunciation I've had of my name ever at an event, can I say. So thank you very much, Greta. Giridharan. You have no idea how badly butchered it gets by others. Get on the plane and I come home to Brisbane. I get off the plane in Brisbane and suddenly I become diverse, multicultural, ethnic. I've even copped non-English speaking background a few times. I'm exactly the same person that boarded that plane and then came back home. I've been made different by the society I'm entering here. Understanding not mine, but much more importantly many others, supposed difference to what is considered the norm or acceptable is our racial literacy. And then the next step is improving our systems and institutions so that they're accessible and inclusive for everyone, irrespective of language, culture, background. None of us can be expected to know everything. Building racial literacy can take a lifetime. But if you want to tackle racism, you have to make a genuine commitment to ongoing learning and educating yourself and others. And we could do from learning from the Vedanta philosophy of listening, shravana, reflection, manana, and deep contemplation, nididhyasana. Those three things would be pretty good to do in terms of building our racial literacy. But once you've built that racial literacy, you don't sit on your laurels, you then have to actively challenge systems, structures and ideas. And that's what we call for in the National Anti-Racism Framework. Real change, not just symbolic words or gestures. Many of us have seen corporate diversity campaigns that showcase staff of different backgrounds, but they don't actually, those same organisations don't actually have policies or processes to challenge racism within them. Many of us are very tired of seeing people in public positions condemn horrific acts of racism and then not actually seeing meaningful action take place, or seeing communities pitted against each other in a competition for resources that actually increases racism. If we want, on our journey of racism, to actually name the beast and slay it, we have to take meaningful change. And I think gatherings like what we've got today, and I see the Vedanta Centre a bit like an interfaith gathering. I have Jesus here, I have Buddha there, of course Swami Vivekananda, Ramakrishna, Sarada Devi, all there. And I think about the first sentence of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. And we can absolutely build bridges even after the most intractable of conflicts. And I'll tell you another story. I told you about how my grandmother took shelter in the Vedanta Centre for 15 days during the terrible conflict in Sri Lanka. That conflict effectively dispersed all of my family from Sri Lanka to all over the world. My cousin Bahi was particularly badly affected. He was in Jaffna, and as a young man he was beaten, tied up and beaten by government troops. His father was shot in the mouth by the Tamil Tigers, actually, not by the troops. Miraculously survived. Came to Australia as refugees. They stayed with us when they first came. You all know the story. The first family that comes sets up, and then everyone else that comes stays with them over time. Yeah? Yeah? You all know how it works. We were that family that everyone came and stayed at in Lidcombe in Sydney. 2-bedroom house. We used to have 20 people sometimes staying. So Bahi came and stayed with us, and then he and his family got their own place out at Wentworthville. And there was two things he wanted in Australia. One, an education. The Tamils were deprived that based on language in Sri Lanka. The second, wanted to play cricket. He was a huge fan of Adam Gilchrist, as many of us were at the time. So he started studying at North Sydney TAFE and was playing for a team in the Parramatta district. And he's a pretty handy cricketer. I bowled at him a few times and he tonked me all over the park. He's quite a good cricketer. Not long after he arrived, he was at Stratfield Station waiting for a train to go out to Parramatta to train. He had his kit with him. And there's a young man that came up to him at the station. The young man looked Sri Lankan. Turned out that he was. And the young man introduced himself to Bahi. And he said, are you Sri Lankan? You know, that's what we do, right? We go, are you Indian? Are you Sri Lankan? Bahi said, yeah. And then the young man said, I'm Salia. And for those of you who don't know, Sinhalese and Tamil names are quite distinct, so that was distinctively a Sinhalese name. Salia then asked Bahi, do you play cricket? He's got the kit with him, so it was kind of a giveaway. Now, Bahi could have done a couple of things here. He's just escaped a civil war, a brutal civil war, where the Sinhalese government, I believe, committed genocide against the Tamil people. He himself suffered. He could have been distrustful, could have said nothing, could have walked away. Instead, he made a choice. He decided to listen, decided to talk to Salia, decided to be compassionate to someone else who's clearly searching for community and connection and a sense of belonging. So he said, yeah, I play cricket. Do you want to come with? And in the end, Salia actually went and joined his cricket team. I mean, I talk about this in grand terms of, compassion. I also think they were probably desperately in need of a good batsman, but nonetheless, they started playing cricket together. Now, but here's the important postscript. That was more than 20 years ago. For 20 years, they played cricket together, and over that time, lots of other teammates came and went, but Bahi and Salia played together. They became best friends, and they remain so today. In telling you that story, I'm not trying to say that an open heart will solve everything on the wicked problem of racism. It won't, it can't. You need intent and action. It needs, for example, the federal government to adopt and fund the recommendations of the National Anti-Racism Framework. And it has been very disheartening that at the federal level, after nearly 18 months after tabling the framework, it's not even been endorsed, let alone implemented. Instead, we continue to see piecemeal approaches that pit communities against each other. On a state level, it's been very disheartening to see the state government abruptly end truth-telling and the path to treaty, and to shelve laws that would have helped all communities affected by discrimination. What's been heartening has been seeing community organisations, businesses, unions and others go on with their work. They're not waiting for government. All of you in this room can play a part, because we know that when people come together for the greater good, systems have to change. Swami Vivekananda famously said, strength is life, weakness is death. Expansion is life, contraction is death. Love is life, hatred is death. Strength is admitting that racism exists, that racism is divisive, and that we need to change. And I don't usually do this, but I actually want to thank Senator Scar here at the front, because for his strength recently in supporting a motion condemning racism in the Senate, despite his colleagues not doing so, that is the kind of strength that we need to see, and we need to see from others. So thank you, Senator Scar, for that. Expansion is taking meaningful steps on the anti-racism journey to bring about change. Being prepared to learn, being prepared to talk about racism, being prepared to improve your racial literacy. And the destination, of course, of doing all of that is love. Love for one another, love based on an equity between us. A love in which we treat each other with dignity, equality, and respect. And I hope with the strength, expansion, and love of those in this room, we can get to that destination. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you, Commissioner Shivaraman, for that insightful and thought-provoking address. As we reflect on the importance of confronting racism and building a cohesive society, we are reminded that creating inclusive communities is a responsibility that is shared by leaders, institutions, and citizens alike. Today, we are fortunate to have with us several community leaders and policymakers who will share their perspectives on how governments and communities can foster long-term interfaith and intercultural understanding here in Australia. To moderate this discussion, I would like to invite to the stage Jim Varghese, Chairperson and owner of the leadership company Queensland and Director and Chair of the Springfield City Group Board of Directors. Jim brings more than 30 years of leadership experience across Queensland and Victorian public sectors, and we are delighted to have him guiding this conversation. Please welcome Jim Varghese. I would also like to now invite our distinguished panelists to join us on stage. Giridharan Shivaraman, Honourable Shane Newman, Member of Parliament, Sharis Mullen, Member of Parliament, Councillor Pai Augustine, Councillor Paul Tully, and Senator Paul Scar.
I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we're on, and elders past and present, and support strongly your recognition that you gave. Also today we have an unusual opportunity to share this is a multicultural day, to share the interfaith side and share the interconnection. So to do this, I would like to ask each of our panelists a question rather than make a long speech on what we're doing. So to do that, I'd also like to commence with a simple one. I'm going to ask each panelist to say who they are and what is the key message they'd like to convey in terms of Multicultural Day, in terms of multiculturalism, and then the interconnectivity. So I think this time I'll start with Shane Newman, who's next to me.
Well, I'm Shane Newman, the Federal Member for Blair. I think the theme of everyone belonging is really critical. I think one of the things that we need to avoid in Australia is, as the Minister said and Ali said in Canberra in a speech recently, it's not just about colour and festivals and food. That is a sop. That is a really lukewarm Laodicean idea of what multiculturalism and what harmony in the country is. And as Gary said, we need to fight and advocate and confront xenophobia, racism and bigotry. And we need to celebrate our shared values of democracy, freedom and social justice and equality of opportunity. And that's what I think Harmony Day is all about.
Thank you. That's a very good, short and sharp one. Councillor.
Thank you. My name is Councillor Pai Augustine. I'm Councillor for Division 1, which is not this area, but part of Harmony Day, which from me, I'm the Chair of the Economic and Cultural Development Committee, but I'm also the Chair of the Multicultural Advisory Committee. And so that's a first in Ipswich. So for me, that starts the very core of us talking about what multiculturalism really means to people. For me, I know Shane might have said festivals might be just I can't remember your words, but I do feel that we need to start somewhere, and to me, so I'll be hosting a multicultural festival. Our council will be on the 1st of August, which is Multicultural Month, and for me it's a multicultural unity festival. It's not just multicultural people, people that look like me, turning up. It's about trying to unify people together. For me, I think racism is, when you boil it right down, it's fear. It's fear of the unknown. And for me, if we can break down that fear to be able to bring people together, I think that's the core of what Harmony Day is about, is bringing everyone together. Thank you.
Now, of course, we have our speaker that's made. You don't want to say a few words? I think just a summary, passion.
Sorry, okay, so we are, as a society, we're often divided by many things: class, age, disability, gender, sexuality. These are all things that lead to unequal outcomes, and I think that the beauty of anti-racism work is it's about making systems and institutions more transparent, responsive and accountable. And that helps everyone. That doesn't actually take anything away from everyone. It means that it doesn't matter what school you went to, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter whether you've got a disability, it doesn't matter your sexuality or gender. You can still access an institution or a system, participate and thrive. And that's ultimately what we want, everyone to be given that opportunity.
Hi everyone, I'm Cherise Mullen MP. I'm the State Member for Jordan, and I'm also the Shadow Minister for Multicultural Affairs here in Queensland. For me, I think Harmony Day is two ways of looking at it. I think of it as a checkpoint. I think it's important to actually celebrate our multiculturalism and to see how far we have come. But it is a checkpoint. It's a checkpoint to sort of say, well, what are the inequalities that we are not willing to stand by? I think Gary is correct. I think there are some really structural issues in our country when it comes to racism, and we have to address those. Otherwise, we are not going to be able to go any further. The truth is, multiculturalism is not automatic. We have to keep building on it, and I think Harmony Day is an opportunity to look at that and say, how much further do we need to go?
Thanks, Cherise. Paul Tully, a councillor for Division 2, which covers this area. I was first elected in 1979, and I can say that most of my colleagues now weren't even born when I was first elected, which is quite an unusual situation. I think today is an opportunity for our entire community to talk and to understand and to accept. I need to say about the curse of social media. To me, that's the worst and the best thing that's ever happened to our society. When social media started, I really thought we'd have a more intelligent, a more diverse sort of community, not in a cultural sense so much, but the opportunity to exchange information. And we all know the evils of social media, very bad evils. I'm aware of the governments around the world, including the Australian government, trying to restrict some of the nasty, racist and other offensive material on the internet. I think we'd have to say it's not particularly successful. Harmony Day is just the opportunity for us to think and to involve the entire community. I first met James Varghese, and he'll remember this, in 1966, when his family, we both go back a long time, 1966, his family from India had come to Brisbane via Newcastle. And I think it was your entire family, James, that I met. And we're at a GPS school in Brisbane, Gregory Terrace, and I guess there were levels of racism that applied in those days. But I can say through my own family, my wife who passed away recently, my two boys are half Filipino. That's John Paul. Just put your hand up, John Paul. Some half Filipino kids in Australia, you know they're Filipinos. Most John Paul's teacher didn't know until 3 months into the English course many years ago that she had a boy from overseas.
It's just working together, and being mates for everyone in Australia. That's what it means to me.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you for everything you do. Can I also acknowledge our First Nations people and pay my respects to Elders past, present and emerging. And Gary, I thought you did a great job of explaining why that is so important. And it really is important. It's also important to acknowledge, as I observe, the generosity of spirit of our First Nations people. And I've seen that welcoming spirit to people from all over the world. It's very moving. And Swamiji, thank you for your leadership in our community, and welcome. Lovely to meet you. And this is such a wonderful place, the Vedanta Centre, and I think it has new meaning for me, Giri, after you told that story about your grandmother seeking refuge in a Vedanta centre in Colombo and or in Sri Lanka. It has really resonated strongly with me, as did your message about the change of the name of the day. I think that's something we need to reflect on as well. I think we've had a wake-up call in the last 12 months. I certainly have. And I'm deeply concerned about some of the voices of division and the currency, the traction they've gained that appeal to the worst parts of human nature. And I think, in my mind, that underlines the moral obligation for all of us to do everything we can, to the extent we can, to draw people together and to stand fast against those toxic negative views which cause so much pain. So I think this is really important. And I think, Paul, your comment about social media and toxic messages people are accessing online, and also I think this is an important point, that people are retiring into their own echo chambers where their beliefs, prejudices, preconceptions, where conspiracy theories, all sorts of noxious ideas and thoughts are just echoed and reaffirmed. And I think we've got to do everything we can to help people, meet people from different backgrounds, engage with people from different backgrounds, and understand that common humanity. And I think that is so important. And the things I've learned since becoming a senator, I became a senator in 2019, 40 years after Paul Tully was elected. I won't be a senator in 40 years, Paul, I'll tell you. You might still be a councillor, but science is wonderful these days. But mate, I won't be a senator in 40 years, I can tell you. But just that story Giri told about that meeting on the train station, and there's a wonderful fellow, and I'll just tell this anecdote very quickly. Faisal, who's from the Somali community, who's president of the Queensland African Communities Council and does wonderful, wonderful work, a refugee from Somalia. And he tells the story of how he was standing at the railway station at South Brisbane, just pondering what he was going to do to improve his English language skills, etc. And a woman just came up and introduced herself to him. And from that discussion, she introduced him to programs at the University of Queensland. And then he was introduced how to increase his English language skills, to study, and he's become an outstanding community leader. Just from that one, maybe it's about railway stations. We should spend more time at railway stations. But to me, that's just a great example of how just moving forward, taking that first step to introduce yourself to someone and offer assistance can lead to something profound. And I think we all need to reflect upon the opportunities we have every day in our life to make a difference to other people.
Thanks very much. And I just want to remind you of Dr. Ajim Majumdar's opening address, where he very clearly articulated what Vedanta is about. And I'm sure you all absorbed some of that. But looking behind me here, you can see all the great religions of the world, symbols up there. But also you can see the Trinity. That's a very important Trinity. I have a particular affection for Swami Vivekananda.
who I have sort of followed since the age of 18, turning 75 next month. That's a long time. But I think the message in that is a very important message. It's unique, and you happen to be in the right spot at a time where you were given the warnings on racism and a whole range of things. You couldn't get a better symbolic spot than here in the Vedanta Centre, because it is about how you connect. How do you connect with different religions, non-beliefs and beliefs, and still value the change that you can make in human life, in interaction, and add value to everything happening around you. So today is, and I congratulate Swamiji's on it, today is excellent that you've got the Vedanta Centre in here. It's more than just a Vedanta Centre, it's a light that goes to the whole of the Brisbane and Queensland community, and even Australia and Sydney, when I've been there as well, and WA too. So I think we're seeing a very important one. I see the Vedanta thing as very important in bringing and supporting all religions. We should not get fanatical about, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Hindu, whatever. We should be looking at peace and harmony, and that is the message here. And of course, if you don't believe any of those religions, then speak to Swamiji, and I'm sure he will bring you into Vedanta. So I mean, take that in. So what I'd like now is to ask some short and sharp questions, which is, and I'll start on your end first. If I asked you in just 3 words to tell me what is the key message you want to give for peace and harmony in multicultural Australia Day?
Oh, 3 words. Go long. For me, it's love, acceptance, and belonging. And we hear those words all the time. But I really do think that that's the key to it. I'm starting to ramble. Yeah, I was going to say, so I hear this word belonging a lot. And I think it's on both sides of the coin. We need to, multicultural people want to feel like they belong, and we need our Australian people to accept. But then we also need our multicultural people to go in and belong into something. When I came here in 1980, went to school that I was the only person that looked like me. I went to Woodridge State School, which now nearly every single person looks like me there. But when I went there in 1980, I was who I was, and I had to feel like I needed to belong. So the first thing I did was joined a football club, a soccer club, and that's how I felt like how I belonged. And I've always felt like I've belonged here because I made sure I went and belonged somewhere. Yes, there's been things that's happened to me along the way, but for me, I just punch through things because I don't want to not be accepted, and if I'm not, I'll just go on. Thank you.
When Gary was talking about love before and his faith, I thought about what I experienced in my personal life as a Christian. And I read the Bible and pray every day, and I go from Genesis through to Revelation, not in one day, Paul, but certainly I do it. And today I read in the book of Galatians, St. Paul's letter to the Galatians, chapter 5. And Gary, he talked about love. And it's a passage where he tells the Galatians, you've got to be free, and it is harmony within a religion, not harmony between religions. But one of the things in that, and I'll finish on this note, he talks about the fruit of the Spirit, not passive, the fruit, the active aspect of harmony, the active aspect of faith, and that is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, and self-control. And Gary was talking about love, active. I think the fruit of the Spirit, we tend to think about this in a passive sense. What I believe, it's got to be in action. Faith without works is nothing. So harmony without action is nothing.
Thanks, that's good. Shane?
So there, 3 words. These aren't my words, but there's a famous expression, there is no peace without justice, there is no justice without truth. And I think that foundational to racial equity is truth-telling. Not that, and of course truth-telling about the treatment of First Peoples, but other truth-telling. I was with a group from the Chinese community, including a woman that set up a Chinese history museum in Sydney, and she said to me, she's about 80, she said to me, for 60 years I've been asking the federal government in its various forms for an apology from this country for the treatment of Chinese miners and the Chinese people, and I've never got it, and I don't know if I'll ever live to see it. And I thought, that's the truth. That ill treatment is the truth, and if you want peace and you want justice, you have to accept the truth. That's your platform for being better and bringing people together.
I think for me, kindness, it always begins with kindness. And I say to my children, I don't care what you do with your life, as long as you are kind, I think that will always hold you in good stead. And so I think we just need to be kinder to each other. I think in a similar sense to truth, my other one would be honesty. I think we need to have an honest look at ourselves as a country and an honest look at ourselves as individuals, and what are we doing to contribute to our nation in terms of multiculturalism and what it means. The third one for me, I think, is education. I think that yesterday I was invited to St. Francis College in Logan for their Harmony Day celebrations, and you know, when you see these children so proud of being in their traditional costumes, performing in front of their friends, and it was the most supportive, incredible environment that I've seen. It actually made me really emotional to see these children, because they did not have hate in their hearts. They did not, they were so excited about sharing each other's cultures. And so we need to keep reinforcing those messages. And I think education is going to continue to be community education, education in our schools. It's early intervention. The sooner that we can ensure that our children understand these things, I think the better it'll be for our nation.
I will try to make this 3 words, James, because you remember the Christian brothers, if they told us to say something in 3 words, they'd belt us if we didn't. So my 3 words are friendship, care and genuineness.
That's a problem. You did 3 words.
I've changed my 3 words about 20 times during the course of the... So my 3 words are our common humanity. Our common humanity.
Very short. Okay. So I think as we're listening to this, a lot of key messages in here that you can all absorb. But I think one very important message for the future is that we would certainly like to see this Vedanta Centre in its plans for expansion bring in, opportunities for people to live and work and play, and also for the residential end, and also to link in with the Olympic Games that's coming up and get some of the Indian side in it. So that's something maybe we could all strongly support. And I also think that's something, unfortunately, Minister Fiona Simpson isn't here, but I have put that proposal to her, that she supports that. You got it. I think that's extremely important because it'll strengthen the Vedanta Centre and also allow that message to go through. And in that context, I'd also like to pay tribute to Dr. Maha Sinnathamby, who couldn't be here today. But he and his daughter, Randa Sinnathamby, who's the CEO of Springfield City Group, they have played an absolutely invaluable role in all of this. They put the resources, the investment into it, and we've talked about it, and it's a great tribute to someone that has transcended the wealth, but also looked at what would be the opportunity for a great spiritual breakthrough. So I think that's something that he should be commended for. I'm always very conscious of time, so we have about 6 minutes left. So we've got through most of the things we want to. So this time round, I'll just say, give me something short and sharp. I'm not going to say 3, 4, 5 words, but just short and sharp. This time I'll start with you, Senator Scott.
No one said 3 words the first time around. Go on, Jim.
You right?
Oh, you want me to say something now?
Something short and sharp.
Oh, okay. Last year was the 50th anniversary of the Race Discrimination Act. And I gave a speech in the Senate, and I actually went back and read the speeches that had been given in the Senate when the Race Discrimination Act was passed. And one of my heroes, boyhood hero, was Neville Bonner, was a senator for Queensland, the first Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander to be a senator or member of federal parliament. And he said that so many of the speakers got up and said they hadn't experienced racism in the country. And he told them firsthand about some of his experiences he and his family had suffered. And I was reflecting on that, Gary, whilst you were talking about truth-telling. And Charisse, you talked about honesty. And I think there are some powerful messages there for us all to reflect on.
Thank you very much. Paul Tully?
I just recall a story that was told to me over 20 years ago. It was a Australian person in a park at Fernvale. Fernvale, if you don't know, is between Ipswich going north to Ivanhoe Dam. And they said there was a small African family who were there, obviously didn't have much. And the Aussie went up to them and said, how long have you been here? And it was only a very short time, like a week or two. And they said, has anyone welcomed you to Australia? And they said, no, we just came. And this Australian actually stood in the park. There were not many people around, actually welcomed them. And I've never forgotten that story. I've never had the opportunity to do the same thing, but I always get a bit emotional about that African family would have been so impressed that there was that welcoming feeling. And I think welcoming people in that physical sense is important, but making people at all times feel welcome in our community. But that Fernvale situation, I'd like to see that replicated in people. You'd hardly even think to do that. That's just another family there. And I thought that was really beautiful.
Good story.
I remember when I first, so my family are Greek, and we grew up in a really, like, we grew up in West End. There was a lot of Greek families around there, so it was sort of our ethnicity was sort of known and recognised. But I remember when I finished university and went to get my first job, I remember a woman said to me, your ethnicity will hold you back, she said to me, in what you do. And as a young woman just sort of starting out, I remember believing this woman and thinking, and so I hid it. I hid who I was in many ways because I thought that that's what I needed to do. And obviously as you mature and you get more experience in life, what I recognised was that my ethnicity is what actually made me special and what made me unique and what drove me and what has given me the opportunities that I have now had. The opportunity to have been a Minister for Multicultural Affairs in Queensland, the opportunity to be a Member of Parliament. Maybe that would have happened if I was someone else, but I think it actually has enriched what I've become.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think that I just want to, thank the people that are here and reinforce that for the politicians, because I'm not one. Oh, Jim, you're pretty political. So, we all know Jim from, anyway, it doesn't matter. No, my point is that true anti-racism work is one that builds community up and listens to community and gives community the opportunity to provide the solutions that will help them. It's not prescriptive. It's not telling them what to do. It's not assuming you know what's best for them. And this community here is reflective of that power in community.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to pick up the 3 words, okay? So, in a place of faith amongst friends, and to pick up Gary's words, more funding, I think my 3 words would be faith, friendship and funding.
Oh, very good. There you go.
If you allow me, I'll just tell a little quick story to what I feel what multiculturalism Harmony Day is. So I came over here in 1980, as I said, and as a a black person coming to Australia and going to Woodridge where I was with all white people. So the first girl that I met, her name was Wendy. Wendy, very white girl, very blonde hair. From that day, Wendy accepted me and I accepted, well, I had to. There was no one else. I had to be friends with her. But to this day, 45 years later, Wendy and myself are still best friends. And coming from a place like South Africa where it was apartheid, where I couldn't speak to a white person, I had to live in a black area, go to a black school, swimming at a black beach, and then coming here and being able to make a white friend with blonde hair and today still have that strong relationship with her. I feel that's what multiculturalism is, that's what harmony is to make friendships and break down those barriers for a lifetime.
Thank you very much. And believe it or not, we're getting exactly on time as I hoped we would. Can you all give a round of applause to our panelists? They've done a really great job. And I'd also, in finishing off, I would also like to say that you couldn't get a better location to actually preach, to practice what we're preaching. The interdependent harmony of all different beliefs, bringing them together for one focus, for the betterment of humanity, happiness, multicultural, and of course, Multicultural Day, making that happen. So, thanks each of the panelists, you've done a fantastic job. Thanks to the audience for listening to us, and thank you, Swamiji, for the invitation. And I've always prided myself in finishing on time. So on that note, I thank you all.
Thank you. Wait a second.
I'll give it to you.
Thank you to our moderator and our panelists for sharing their insights and perspectives. It was truly a very thought-provoking discussion, so thank you for that. To acknowledge the contribution today, we would like to present a token of appreciation. I would now like to invite Swami Mahabodhananda to the stage to present these mementos to our guests. To formally conclude our stage program, I would now like to invite Swami Atmeshananda to deliver the vote of thanks. Please join me in welcoming Swami Atmeshananda.
Thank you very much, Greta. And on behalf of the Vedanta Center, I would like to thank all of you for being here today. Without you, this program would not have been possible. We had almost 300 people who had registered to come, but most probably many of them have been scattered. They have gone to the other places. At the outset, I would like to thank Minister for Multicultural Affairs, Fiona Simpson. She has left, but I would like to extend our grateful thanks to her for being here and also for supporting this event. To our race commissioner, Sri Giridharan Shivaraman, our very hearty thanks, and your talk
with the illustrations that you have given would definitely be appreciated, and also it will be implemented, An example is that which exemplifies a thing. So you have shown by example that it can be exemplified. And our very grateful thanks to Senator Paul Scar, wonderful friend of ours who has always been with us. Senator Shane Newman, he is also a wonderful friend and a very great benefactor of the Vedanta Center. And to our wonderful Sherry Mullen, MP, a grateful thanks. Councillor Pai Augustine, thank you very much, and please convey our regards to Mayor as well. Councillor Paul Tully, he has been a great friend of ours for a very, very long time. Thank you, sir, for being here with us. To Mr. Jim Burgess, who is a constant guide and a philosopher to the Vedanta Center, especially to me. I would like to offer our grateful thanks to you. We have PLOs from the Queensland Police here. We really appreciate your presence over here. Thank you very much for being here. We have members from QFCC. Margaret is there, and Paul is there, and all of you have come, and thank you very much for being here. I have just a request. Can all our dignitaries visit the stalls that are there downstairs before you go for a wonderful lunch, and just post them on your social media. To Greta Mukherjee, our wonderful young MC, a grateful thanks to you, and Godspeed you. To Mr. Paramjit Namdhari, our sound engineer, thank you. Without you, we could not hear each other. To Jade Ensemble, who have performed such a wonderful music, our grateful thanks. We also want to thank all the performers who are performing downstairs, and we would like to also thank Samskriti Queensland. Some of our young volunteers are from Samskriti Queensland. We thank them for volunteering at this event. To the organizing committee, which consists of Menaka Thomas, who is heading the committee, and Renuka Sinathambi, Uni Nair, Mr. Shyamdas, Mr. Nagendran, Usha, and Ravi. A grateful thanks to all of you. To our sponsors, More Than Home Loans, and to Balarajan of LJ Hooker, our gratitude. Dr. Majumdar and members of the management committee of the Vedanta Center have always been with us, working behind the scenes tirelessly. And to all the kitchen volunteers who have been cooking wonderful meals, our grateful thanks. These flowers were arranged by Patricia Schult, and she said, Swami, this is a multicultural program, no doubt, but we are in Australia, so I would like to bring only native flowers here. Thank you very much, Patricia, for that. Thank you, everyone, and we would like to request all of you to Rohan and to Vishwadeep for managing the videos, and to everyone who have, all of the audience who have come, and those who are also watching online, our grateful thanks for being with us. So let us all keep up this spirit of harmony. As Jim had pointed out, you can see the spirit of harmony here in this shrine area. So we respect all the religions, and Sri Ramakrishna was the very embodiment of religious harmony. Thank you very much, and Godspeed. We can all wear our shoes and go downstairs for the wonderful meals. Oh yes, sorry. Just a small request of all of you. Just a small request.